Hey everybody, got the RV Wingman here, and I've got another sad interview to bring you today. It's with a 76-year-old Marine veteran who is devastated by his decision to buy a motorhome from the wrong RV dealer. If you guessed Camping World, well, congratulations. I hope that you'll stick with me to the end and listen, truly listen to this man's story, because it's not about somebody who didn't do their homework or about somebody who bought something that was way out of their league. At least that's how I see it. It's about a 76-year-old man, a man who has been RVing longer than most salespeople have even been alive. It's a story that leaves me sad and shaking my head, a bit angry too. You're about to meet Jason Rustin. As I mentioned, he's a Marine Corps veteran, and he seems like just an ordinary good guy to me. But Jason has a unique backstory. He lives in an assisted living facility on a fixed income. I wouldn't say that he's poor or destitute, but he is certainly not wealthy. And he has to watch where every single penny goes. So, what makes Jason's story more sad than usual, than normal, is that he is suffering from a TBI. That's right, a traumatic brain injury he's been dealing with for more than 20 years. I want to say that he does not want, or has he asked for sympathy. Hell, he's a Marine, and Marines have principles, but here's the upshot. Camping World, yes, Camping World sold him basically an $80,000 motorhome and a 17-year note. A note that he'll be paying on till he's 93 if he makes it that long. One more thing, Jason is technologically challenged. He is. He does not have a computer. He doesn't even have an email address. And his neighbor at his assisted living facility has helped him with the setup to do today's video. So, you know, I am not a lawyer, but I am a human being. And when I see what I believe is someone being financially targeted, I got to speak up. I do. So that's what today's story is all about. I hope that you will listen to this man, truly listen, and ask yourself, could this happen to someone you know? Could it happen to me? I also hope that you will comment and let me know your thoughts. Well, Jason, I'm glad we're finally doing this Zoom call. I know that we have swapped voicemails for the last, I don't know, more than a month. And before we get into your RV nightmare, you haven't done a whole lot of Zoom calls before, have you?
This is my first one.
But, and just so people know a little bit who you are and some background, you retired a long time ago, which sounds good, but you didn't retire because you wanted to. Kind of give the short story on that.
Uh, July 28th of '04, I fell off a roof face first and broke most everything. And I was forced into retirement at that time, and I was 55 at that time.
And you said that you had an injury that's lingering till today. I mean, it's going to be with you the rest of your life.
Yes, sir. I've got a few ongoing problems, but I've adapted.
Okay. And I'm not trying to bring up the past or anything, but I'm trying to lay the groundwork for what I think may have a factor in where you are and and what might have happened at the dealer. So you've been a lifelong RVer, you tell me. Uh,
Yes, sir.
Give me some background on the RV that you bought. Why did you buy the RV that you purchased? Essentially, why did you buy it? Where did you buy it? And how did you make that decision?
Well, I came up here from Palm Beach, Florida, and I had a 43-foot Pace Arrow, which is a really, really nice unit. It's just too big. So when I sold that to move back to Columbus, I was missing going camping, and I wanted something smaller. So this Conquest caught my eye because it's only 24 feet, but it sleeps 6 people, and it had a generator, which is what I really, really wanted, is a generator. And so that's why I was attracted to it. And the reason I bought this is the first new one I've ever owned, and the reason I did that is because I'm 76 years old, and I don't want to be having to replace tires and stiffen up floors and stuff, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And how did you end up going to the dealer that you went to? And tell me about your purchase process.
Uh, by happenstance, I was coming back in through Alabama, and it's a huge place. I mean, an absolutely huge place. And got a great big flag, so you can't help but see it. and this small camper caught my eye. They probably got 300, maybe 400 towables there, but they only had 3 RVs. And so I went in and looked at it, and I'm trying my best not to
No, go ahead and speak.
be politically incorrect.
You
but
could.
these people, they saw me coming, Alan. They say they saw me coming, and they knew I was interested because I gave them $1,000 after 2 hours, and I did that on purpose to let them know I was interested to please take care of the camper because it was in pretty rough shape for a supposedly brand new camper.
Okay, so you're looking at a brand new motorhome. You pulled into Camping World. How did they treat you? Were you treated well? Did they ignore you? What was the atmosphere like?
When I got there, I'm looking around, and I was completely by myself. And so I kept waving my arms like, hey, I'm out here, But they couldn't care less about selling the thing, which is weird, but it made me more interested, if that makes sense to you.
Huh.
So I'm looking around. The battery was dead. Both batteries were dead. I couldn't start it up to see the mileage on it. I couldn't start the generator. So finally, the salesman comes out, and that's strictly what he was a salesman to tell you what you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, where's the sticker? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, a new vehicle is supposed to have a sticker on the window that's not supposed to be removed by anybody but the end user, the owner.
Yeah.
And of course, he gave me a song and a dance. Oh, well, the detailers took that off, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I gave them the $1,000 to make sure they knew I was interested. And I said, look, I'm going to be back tomorrow. I want to see this thing. I want to be able to move the bump out in and out, and I want to start the engine and check. I go back the next day. They had done squat to it. They're all sitting around having donuts and coffee. And I just thought that was strange that if they were interested in selling that, they should have met me and, hey, how you doing? Here's a donut, So it was like pulling his teeth. So I opened the hood, and there must have been 500 insect carcasses inside the hood. The battery was gone, and I went around and looked. And as you've noticed, I'm challenged. I can't get down like I used to. So I opened the thing, and I look in their side there, and I see a battery, but I didn't get down to scrutinizing everything. And I told the guy, I said, well, I need to have a good battery in here so I can check all this out. Well, all they did was charge the battery, and which I later bought a new battery because that one wouldn't hold charge. And I kept telling them the battery is no good.
Okay, hang on, Jason,
yes,
hang on a second.
Yes, sir.
This took place in January of this year, January 2025, is right?
February.
So not long ago, and it's a brand new, supposedly a brand new motorhome.
Yes, sir.
And forgive me for asking such a direct question, but why were those not red flags to you? And you just say, hey, give me my $1,000 back. I'm out of here.
It's hard to explain, but that made me more interested. Their lack of enthusiasm and everything just made me more interested, and it's what I wanted because my hands are so bad, I'm so challenged, but I can still pressure wash. So I've got a real nice pressure washer, electric pressure washer. And so I told him, I said, well, I like this vehicle because it's small enough, but big enough. It's small enough to drive like a truck, but it's big enough to use. And I can put my pressure washer in here. And a lot of places don't have outside power. And this had a generator. And I told him that's what I really liked was the generator. Because I do a lot of charity work for the church. And matter of fact, I tried twice pressure washing at the church, and the generator wouldn't run more than an hour either time. And so here it is. I'm right in the middle of pressure washing, and the generator quits.
Okay.
It's just a bad deal.
Let's go back to the dealership. You haven't yet taken delivery of the motorhome. When they were running you through the finance department, what was that like? Because from what you have told me in voicemails and when we spoke, that's where the big thing started kind of unraveling for you.
Well, all this took place in a matter of 4 days. And the fourth day I went back there and I was going to tell the guy to stick it up his that I wasn't interested. So the general manager came out and he says, "How you like your camper, you know?" And I said, "Well," I said, "you can have it. I don't want it." I said, "You people just aren't in the market to sell it." So I get back to my house, and at 6:45 that night, Stephen Smith, who identified himself as the general manager in Atlanta, said, "Mr. Rustin, I'm going to do anything that you need to make you happy to sell you this unit. And believe me, I'm not going to do you wrong." And to put it in a nutshell, I was looking at the motor home, and they had it priced $72,999, and they had a Four Winds part right next to it that was a couple years older, and it was a lead-in because in order to make that more appealing to you, the Four Winds was priced a few $1,000s more than this new vehicle.
Okay.
And
so they got you interested. They got you interested, and now you're going to buy it. They got you. Here's the pen, sir, and they start passing papers to you. And so you thought you were going to pay what price for that motorhome, and what price did you end up paying?
Well, when I got the paperwork from the guy, I said, "Look, I don't drive anything off the lot without it being insured." So I went to my buddy Progressive, and I told him I want to insure it. He said, "How much?" I said, "Well, the bottom line with tax, title, everything is around $80,000." So he gave me full insurance. I got really good insurance, full insurance. So to answer your question, I believe $80,000 is what I was believing that was the bottom line.
Okay.
And that was tax, title, everything. So a few days after we closed on this deal, and I thought I was, because I put $45,000 down. I forgot to mention that, but I put $45,000 cash down, and I was expecting to pay the difference between $45,000 and $80,000.
Right.
And he told me, "Oh, the more money you put down, the lower your payments are going to be." And I said, "I understand that." So I put 45 down, and so I'm sorry, I have TBI, and I was thinking that I was just going to be financing like $38,000. So a few days after we closed, and he's telling me sign this, sign that. I said, "Well, I don't want all this stuff." He says, "Oh no, we're not selling you that. We just put it in the contract so you would see how good a deal you're getting." Well, a couple of days after this went wrong, I get the paper from MIT Bank. It says, "Thank you for using MIT Bank. Said we made a mistake. Here's the corrected." And so I'm looking at it real quick, and I'm looking down the thing, and it shows I paid $45,000. And the very next thing it says, total sale price $158,000. I said, "Jesus Christ, I couldn't afford a $158,000 unit. I would have never looked at that." And then, so when I went and looked at it, they signed me up for every warranty known to man, around $30,000 worth of stuff. And I'm 76 years old. I cannot picture me getting a 17-year loan financing, and one of them was $7,000, paint and everything, and paint. Why would I ever get paint on there?
Okay, I want to. I know that this is a no. Don't apologize, and I'm trying to follow this your story. So it's a $73,000 motorhome. You put $45,000 down, but you're saying that when you got the paperwork,
they had turned me down originally when I was only supposedly paying back $38,000. They had turned me down, but when the finance manager told them, "No, we're going to hit them up for $100,000," then they approved me for 17 years.
17 years. 17 years. A man in his mid-70s, living in assisted living with a documented brain injury, something I think that we can pretty much agree on, we can see if we're truly watching. Somehow he walks out of a Camping World dealership with a loan that stretches into his 90s. And what about what he says that they added every product and warranty that they possibly could, even after he said he didn't want them? I do believe Jason. I do. This story is not about buyer's remorse. It's a story about tactics, about pressure, about greed disguised as service. Do you agree?
So for 17 years, I'm paying $560 something a month for 17 years on a vehicle I'll never own.
Okay, when you saw that, what did you do? Did you call up the finance guy at Camping World and say, what the hell, man?
I called him up and I said, look, what, he goes, oh, well, Mr. Rustin, we discussed all that. You got all these warranties. And I said, look, I don't need to talk to a doctor because that's on there so I can have a Skype call with a doctor. I said, if I get hurt when I'm camping, I'm only going to be 40 or 50 miles away from home. I'll just go to the emergency thing and get sewed up and come back home. I don't need to talk to a doctor to find out what to do. And then he hung up on me, and he's never talked to me since because I was going to cancel. I found out from the district attorney that I could cancel these warranties, and he's never answered my call because they don't want to cancel that because they don't want to have to write me a check for this amount of money.
So are you sure that the $150,000 is that the collect? Now, hang on just a minute. Listen to the question.
Yes,
That's not the total amount you will be paying over 17 years, or is what is the amount you're financing? That's what I want to know. Is there a number there that you can tell me?
yes, sir. Give me just 1 minute.
That's fine. Just take your time. Total amount financed.
Okay, it says amount financed $55,515.
Okay.
Finance charge $58,267.
Okay. Hang on. That finance charge is if you continue to pay for 17 years, as I understand it, that's what it is. So the difference, it's $55,000 is what they wrote up on the financing. But of that $55,000, in my mind, that's about $17,000 more than you thought that you were going to be financing. You were going to be financing about 38, and so that's about $17,000 more. They added $17,000 worth of extras that you really didn't want to have, but they just included those in with your purchase. Yes?
Yes, sir. The vehicle surface contract, the paint contract is $39.95.
Oh, Lord.
Take care of the paint. And I take extremely good care of everything. I've got a 2001 E320 that you can still see your teeth in the paint. I mean, I washed it every week. We've had it for 24 years, and I don't need that. And
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Have you tried to take the motorhome back and said, look, I know you don't want to talk to me, but there's some big time confusion going on. What have you done to try to get them to rectify this and make the corrections? Because if you didn't, here's what they're going to say. We told him all about it. It was right there. He didn't have to sign it. That's what they're going to say. I think that you knew what you were buying. We explained it to him. Of course they did. And I have my doubts. But what have you done to try to rectify this with them?
I took the motorhome back to them, and I told them this is absolutely positively not what I signed up for. And I told them, I said, you guys have never fixed anything. I said, it can be fixed. The battery is no good. The coach battery, it won't hold a charge overnight.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to the DA, she called me from Oregon. She successfully sued him for $3.5 million for for the same crap they just pulled on me. And
well, Camping World is notorious for I don't call it overcharging in a sense. They would never say it's overcharging, but they just add things on to the sales price that they say that you've got to have, that you'd be a fool to not have, whatever the protection fabric, paint, tire, the ESP, and so forth. But people end up, as I call it, waking up with this hangover after they end up purchasing. And the RV doesn't live up to what you thought it was going to be living up to. You told me when we spoke on the phone that I mean, you've had motorhomes for many, many years. You rebuilt them, you resold them.
Yes, sir.
And that the toilet on this one, the pedal just essentially broke and water squirted everywhere.
Yes, sir. When I pressed it to discharge, I noticed I had to press it down twice to get it to completely open.
Right.
And then when I let it go back up, it didn't seal. The water ran out of it, so I depressed it halfway like you're supposed to. And when I let go of the pedal, it went boom, shot off into the shower. So when I went back to Camping World, I said, and I took it with me because it came off, so I took it with me, and it wasn't even scratched. I mean, you could tell it's only been used, been flushed 40, 50 times.
Yeah.
And I've had campers that were 12, 15 years old and had the original foot flush in there. Those things are supposed to last forever.
What do they say when about that?
Well, sir, Mr. Rustin, you might have to buy a new toilet in order to get that part. I said, wait a minute. I said, you can't tell me that you can't buy that. I said, anything that's put on with a screw, you should be able to buy and replace. They said, well, we don't carry that. So they wanted to sell me a $400 toilet. And I found out another place ordered that part for me. It was $50. So they wanted to sell me a $495 toilet to get the $50 flush.
Okay, I want to talk about something besides the motorhome and the fiasco that you're going through.
Yes, sir.
I just got to ask this: you are not a wealthy man. I mean,
No,
you're not a poor man, but you're not poor, but you can't afford it. What has writing a $45,000 check done to you, financially, emotionally, frustration wise? How's that affected your life? Because I know that you've never done a Zoom call before. You don't really do emails. So you're old school, and I love old school.
Sir.
But what has this done to you? Writing the $45,000 check, has it had an impact on your life? And
the $45,000 was almost all my life savings, and they knew that. And so I'm sorry that I have such trouble talking, but that's the nature of my illness,
Yeah, I understand.
Did I tell you that I was driving it around on the lot where I keep it stored, just so the tires don't get a flat spot and start it up, and the awning unfurled. And when I I hate to use the word pulled in because it sounds like when I creeped into the spot where you can work on your vehicle in the shade, the awning had unfurled and hit the downspout, and I just spent $1,450 ordering the two arms, and it's probably going to be another $1,000 labor that I'm having to pay out of my pocket.
Tell me what the final walkthrough was like when right before you rolled out of the dealership with your brand new motorhome. Describe what that walkthrough was like, and did you feel good about it, not good about it? Tell me about it.
Well, I have found out since then that the owner of the company would rather hire lawyers to get him out of a jam as compared to hiring technicians to help people. He's not concerned whatsoever in repairing things.
But how was the walkthrough? Did they take their time? Had
a technician come out, and I knew more about the thing than he did. He's a young kid. That's the first job he's ever had in this type of deal. And I even told him that, you can flush that toilet halfway and makes the water come out to clean it. And he goes, I didn't know that. I said, yeah. Not that he's dumb now, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's inexperience is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But no, they anytime I told them there was something wrong, they had one of the salesmen come over and mess around with it instead of having a technician come out because they don't have technicians. And it's just a money pit. I was going to go ahead and enjoy it because I'm paying $1,000 a month for it. So I was going to go ahead and enjoy it. And it seems like they threw a switch that says, okay, you can break now because we got his money. Because every time I'm involved in it, something breaks. On a new vehicle with 1,200 miles on it, you should be having stuff break all the time.
Oh, good Lord. What would you tell Marcus Lemonis if you had a chance to bend his ear?
Mr. Lemonis, here's your camper. Give me my $45,000 back.
What do you think he'd say to you?
He'd laugh. He'd laugh, just like he got that huge fine, and they got that judgment against him for $3.5 million. But the man is filthy rich. You would think, now me or you, if somebody slapped me on the wrist and charged me a bunch of money and showed me where I was screwing up, I would change. They just throw money at it because they realize that you can't compete with him on the amount of money. So anyway, I've been in touch with the district attorney in Oregon, and also here in Alabama, and I'm gonna get in on a class action suit against these people. They had 1,259 complaints. They had a less than 1 star rating. Their rating on a 1 to 5 is like 3/4 of a star.
Yeah. What would you tell other people? Back up. Let me start over again. Who do you think Camping World is counting on to buy those RVs? Who do you describe the person that they're counting on?
A retired person, probably military, because a retired military man has good money, and retired military people are famous for buying motorhomes. And that's another thing. I couldn't imagine that they did that to me as a veteran, because I would say probably 70-80% of their business is people 55 or older and retired veterans. And,
but what about that American flag? You said in the very beginning there was the thing that drew you in was that beautiful store and that giant American flag. I mean, what did that American flag represent to you, and what did it turn out to be?
It represented to me a veteran's welcome, and all I ever wanted from them people was to do what they said they were going to do. I didn't, because Mr. Warren, I realized in the health that I have, I realized I've probably got 3, maybe 4 good years to enjoy a motorhome. So I knew up front that I'd probably lose some money, but I don't mind because I want to enjoy it while I can. And I really feel that I've only got, because I've got so many problems, I really feel that I've probably only got 3 or 4 good years that I can enjoy a motorhome, regardless of the price. And they took all the light out of my world when they did this to me. And then they laughed at me over the phone. And to this date, of course, I've got it on my phone. I've called him 7 or 8 times, and he don't even answer my call.
And this is where the heartbreak really sets in for too many Camping World customers. Once the deal is done, once it's over, it's as if they don't even know you. The calls stop, the service stalls, and the support? Hello? Hello? Sadly, this is not rare. This seems to be pretty much the playbook of bad RV dealers. They target the vulnerable, they pressure the uninformed, and then they vanish when things break. It's stories like this one that fuel my fire, because someone needs to call this out for what it is. It is predatory. What are your thoughts right now?
I mean, he doesn't even say, he just doesn't answer, because they don't want to write me a check for this stuff. And
What does this do to you? I mean, it's got to, and I know that you don't want to cuss and you don't want to be don't want to be ugly, but I don't want you to hold back. Does it doesn't it piss you off? I mean, isn't there a part of you that when you're alone, you just go, ugh?
Well, when I go to the dealership and they patronize me, makes me want to punch them in the throat. Because they just patronize me, and they go, they don't say it outwardly, but I can tell by their eyes. They're going, nah, 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 we already got your money. And it's true. They got my money. And like I say, it's like they threw a switch that says, we got his money, now you can break. And the toilet sounds very not noteworthy, but if you think about it, your RV is no good if you don't have a flushing toilet. Regardless of the age, if the toilet don't flush, you're pretty much dead in the water, are you not?
Whew, I wish there was something that I could say. To me, I'm not a lawyer, but it sounds like uh, you were someone that was you were somebody that was easy to manipulate, Jason.
Yes, sir.
And that you took the bait. You were like in this, I call it a hypnotic trance. Or it was almost like being intoxicated. And you know, you do have a little bit of time left to go, hopefully more than 3 or 4 years to go RVing. But that dream is probably not the same today as it was. I mean, it's where you're at is, has it damaged your dream? Do you still have it? What are you hoping is going to happen?
Uh, I would really like to be able to get a couple of friends and say, hey, let's go camping this weekend and enjoy myself. But I've got very little enjoyment now because I realize it's something I'll never own, and uh, I've heard such horror stories about them taking an RV in for say a roof leak and keeping it for 6 months because they have no. It should have been a hint. I should have realized when there was only room for maybe 3 or 4 motorhomes to be worked on. I should have realized they're not in the market to repair stuff. It's just that I was so happy to start camping because I don't know. A lot of people. I live in a it's not a nursing home. It's a assisted living home. And since I've been here, I've had so many people die, and that makes me now, maybe not you, but it makes me aware of my mortality. So I was just really wanting to get started enjoying myself for a change. And after the day that I got the note from the MT Bank about all this crap, it just took the light out of my life. It put the wind out of my sails. I'm seriously thinking about having a big sign written on that motor home saying "Do not buy from Camping World," and I'm really thinking about that, and I'm gonna go to all the because this time of year they're having RV shows all over, and I'm going to drive to the RV shows and let people realize that Camping World is a bunch of thieves.
When you were signing the papers, did the person rush you through it? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but did the person explain everything and say, look, this is the extended service protection plan, the Good Sam, whatever they call it, the ESP. And it's optional. We suggest it, but it is optional. Or did they make you think that it was absolutely necessary?
When I questioned him about that, I said, what in the world would I spend this kind of money on an extended warranty when I don't have the manufacturer's warranty yet? He says, Mr. Rustin, you're not being charged for that at all. We just put that down so you can see what a good deal you're getting. And when I bought the motorhome, Mr. Lamonis gave me a 3-year subscription to Good Sam, and they're charging me, right off the top of my head, they charged me, I think, $1,200 to be a part of that. And I've already got a 3-year. And in my redneck, stupid opinion, you shouldn't be worried about extended warranties till your factory warranties wear out. Doesn't that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I've got to jump in, and we're going to wrap this up with my opinion.
Yes, sir.
What pisses me off, Jason, is that you are at a time in your life when you don't need this bullshit. Pardon me. You don't need it. You didn't work your tail off to put $45,000, most of your life savings, to somebody that would say, next, and just get you out. And the sadness that it's sad for me to see people like you that bust your butt always. And
Yes, sir.
and it's like, well, tough luck. I just can't believe human beings can live with themselves to do that kind of thing.
Mr. Warren, I found out that honest people are the ones who are very successful because you don't realize how easy it is for a thief to hoodwink you and steal from you. I never thought about that, but it's so easy for them to pull this on you. And then once I said I don't want that, all they have to do is not answer the phone and cancel it for me. So I'm going to have to go through legal channels just to get what they should be willing to do for me.
But I'm going to caution you about that. And not, I just want to caution you, hold on to your money. Lawyers get paid for their time, and they should get paid for their time. But when they, meaning Camping World, has exhausted much of your resources, I would hold on, keep, as they say, keep your powder dry, because their lawyers are going to be your lawyers. I wish it was not true. I wish that good would prevail over bad, good over evil, but it just doesn't.
If I can interject this now, when I said lawyer, I'm strictly talking about the DA. I can't spend $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 on a lawyer that might not do anything for me.
Yeah.
But the DA, and I keep saying that they sued him for $3.5 million, and the DA here said, well, if she's an extremely intelligent young lady, she called me on the phone and talked to me. So we can do the same thing here. And Mr. Warren, my response was, let me be the straw. Meaning I want to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, because Mr. Lemonis has over 200 stores, and he's not going to ever quit, because if they find him $3 million, so be it. He'll pay the $3 million because he'll make that and more off of a couple of his stores, and he's still got 17 or 18 other stores that are making more money.
Okay, I'm going to, again, not a lawyer, but the wheels of justice move very slowly. And when you're talking about government, they really move slowly. The state of Oregon spent a lot of time researching the charges, the overcharges, the claims. They spent years investigating to make sure before they made that ruling that was more than $3 million that Camping World needs to return that money to people. And my hope is that each state where a Camping World is located, that the DA will use that as an example of, oh my gosh, if that's happened out there, it's happened over here in Georgia, Alabama, and Texas. And they will at least open up an investigation. But unless you are that straw, unless you are that burr in the saddle that stays on them nicely, but tries to be an advocate for justice, that they're just going to move on. And Camping World will be able to continue, and will likely continue what they're doing now. Why? Because it works.
Yes, sir. And from what I understand from talking to the DA, their MO is they just throw money at it and draw it out for years and years and years and years, so people withdraw. But they told me, said, well, Mr. Rustin, with you being 76 years old, the judge is not going to let them put it off for years and years and years. They're going to make them give, which you were entitled to, swift justice. I can't quote it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything swift going to be about this. I believe there is a groundswell of people that are like you, and they're not all retired guys. There are a lot of young couples that have put their faith in, a lot of young military people that have gotten out of done their tour, and they see that American flag and they believe if anybody's going to treat me fairly, it will be the people that are at that American flag. And I think that a lot of people are disillusioned. So there is a groundswell building up, but it's just going to take some time. And
Yes,
have you been able to use your RV? I mean, it's been months now. Have you ever been able to go out and just have a nice weekend with your brand new motorhome?
I went camping 3 weeks ago. And then, like I say, once the toilet took a dump, once the toilet took a dump, it's useless. So I don't care if it's $10,000 or $600,000. An RV without a toilet is pretty much useless to go camping, unless you want to hike up to the, and sometimes it's a mile to the bathhouses.
Yeah. Grab
And
yourself.
some places don't even have bathhouses.
So you're going to get that part. You're going to get that part and try to fix it yourself.
They've already put that part on. It was $50, and I'm having the awning fixed, which is going to cost me again. But once I get the awning fixed and the toilet's working, I'm going to try to use it some. But I'm afraid to get more than 50 miles from home for obvious reasons. And that just really. Oh, there's a place here in the area called the Little Grand Canyon, and it's phenomenal. It's beautiful. It's very much like a small scale Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
I want to go there, but they don't have a lot of hookups. You got to rely on your generator and your holding tank, and rely on your toilet working. So they took the light out of my life.
So Jason thought that he had 3 good years left to travel and enjoy that motorhome. Now he's stuck in a financial trap. He's left holding a bag full of broken promises, and he is out nearly all of his life savings. And Camping World? I believe that what happened to this man is wrong, and it's still happening to other people, too many of them. And I want to believe that someone at Camping World has to see what they're doing. They have to see what they're doing is wrong. But until they change their ways, until they change the tactics of trying to extract every single penny they can from every single customer, I am going to keep sharing the stories of people like Jason, who made the mistake of believing that the American flag flying outside Camping World symbolized honesty and caring and integrity. Until that can change, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. If you've had an experience, a good one or a bad one with Camping World or other RV dealers, I want to hear from you, especially from the big chains. Post in the comments if you would. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and if you think somebody else needs to listen to this, share it with them. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman, reminding you to be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home. Bye-bye, everybody.